If you have been paying even a little bit of attention to the rap world, Twitch streamers, or pop culture over the past year or two, you've probably seen Gio. She has been showing up everywhere with Lil Yachty, posted up around Kai Cenat, Ty Lil, and Duke Dennis. And ever since Carti started his I Am Music victory lap, Gio has been spotted with him constantly, sparking rumors which we will cover later in this video. Before all this though, Gio was initially tied to Lil Yachty's Concrete Boys. In fact, if you remember the cover of his single Slide, the girl with the grills, that's Gio. She was right there with Caribou, Draft Day, DC2 Trill as Yachty was rolling out the collective's roster in 2023. But still, with all this visibility, one question keeps coming up over and over again. Who is she? To really answer that, we have to rewind a little. Giovanna Ramos was born on March 2nd, 2000 in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Her background is complex. Her father is white, Italian, and Jewish, while her mother is black and a devout Christian. And by all accounts, Gio had a pretty normal childhood. Somewhere along the way, she started posting videos to YouTube under her full name, and those videos are still up. They're from over 10 years ago. It is just her talking to family members, filming birthdays, doing little home videos, and singing covers, and surprisingly, she has a really great voice. What is also clear is that Gio is completely fluent in Portuguese. Every video is in her native language, which makes sense since she was born and partially raised in Brazil before moving to the US. But watching those old clips, it is obvious this was someone who always wanted to express herself. After spending her early years in Brazil, Gio and her family eventually relocated to the Newark, New Jersey area. She ended up attending Great Oaks Legacy Charter School, and from the outside, it might have seemed like a pretty standard upbringing. But inside her home, things were different. Gio was raised in a strict, traditional Christian household where her mother's faith was a big part of her childhood. At one point, Gio says she was going as often as 3 times a week to church. But even from a young age, Gio started to question what was being preached. She never fully aligned with what the church expected of her. That tension between her and her mother only grew stronger over time. Gio has always been open about her sexuality. She knew she was a lesbian from early on, and if you check her Twitter bio today, it is still written there. But when she was just 13 years old, one of her own peers outed her to her mom. That moment would spark a major fracture in their relationship, and years later, Gio spoke about it in an interview with DJ Small Eyes.
I came out, well really I didn't even have the chance to come out. Somebody told my mom I was gay, but I was like 13, 14.
By the time she was 16 or 17, things had reached a breaking point. Gio actually tried to run away from home. Now, what exactly triggered that moment is not completely clear. It might have been the emotional weight of her home life or just the chaos that comes with being a teenager stuck in the middle of an identity crisis. Either way, the result was serious. She was found and taken to a mental health facility where she was officially diagnosed with a mental illness. But instead of letting that destroy her, Gio has said that the experience ended up helping her understand herself in a deeper way. It was also around that time that she found something new, something that would open up a totally different world for her. Modeling, which she mentions in an old interview. I started modeling at 16. I had just recently went viral for dressing up as young MA for Halloween, and people started sending a bunch of merch for me to promo. This kickstarted her career, and she would start doing small-time modeling gigs, which would later become her passion and full-time career. She would also later drop out of high school and pursue a GED, as she mentioned in Kai's stream.
GBA you at? Damn.
I got a GED, son.
What about you?
Probably since modeling was going pretty well. The modeling industry is not easy to break into. It demands more than just good looks. It requires distinction. You have to stand out. Brands are not just looking for beauty, they are looking for faces that can sell a lifestyle. Gio had that quality, the kind of look that grabs attention, but that is only the beginning. The next step is navigating the business. Most models either sign to agencies or build relationships directly with brands, often trading a percentage of their earnings in exchange for access to higher paying opportunities. A model's value is tied to how marketable their image is. Someone like Emrata, who has appeared in major campaigns and Travis Scott videos, likely commands a high rate because she brings instant recognition. For emerging models, the path looks different. It is closer to freelancing. There is no guaranteed work, no built-in exposure. You have to create demand by staying visible, posting consistently, curating your style, and proving that people engage with your image. Gio understood this early. She treated her look like a brand, built an audience around it, and turned that visibility into opportunity. After Gio started getting her first modeling gigs, she made a move that felt inevitable. She packed up and left for Atlanta. It made sense. Her whole look, face tattoos, grills, streetwear, was rooted in the ethos of rap culture, and Atlanta was the epicenter of that scene. She was chasing opportunity, but what she found instead was one of the hardest chapters of her life. She moved in with a few friends. None of them had jobs. Everyone was broke, just trying to figure it out. And in that kind of pressure cooker environment, things got dark fast. That is when Gio's addiction began. At first, it was just bits of a Xanax bar, but like most vices, it did not stay small for long. Pretty soon, it became a dependency. She began drinking heavily, smoking daily, mixing pills and liquor, edibles, joints, anything that could numb what she was feeling. For 2 years straight, she lived like that, deep in addiction, couch hopping, functionally homeless in the city that was supposed to be her way out. And then, in 2020, she hit her breaking point. She had taken a Xanax and mixed it with the Four Loko, woke up with no memory of what happened, no clue where she had been. That moment shook her. She decided to quit cold turkey, and the detox hit hard. In her interview with DJ Small Eyes, she talked about how the withdrawals left her curled up, crying, sweating, trying to survive it alone. Gio said she never told her family about the addiction. Given the fractured relationship with her mom after coming out years earlier, it makes sense. But things seemed to shift. In 2024, she posted a Mother's Day message, and by 2025, the two appeared to be on good terms again. After that 2020 scare, something changed in Gio. She started taking her life seriously. She stayed off Xanax. She got back into modeling, and this time with real focus. And just when she was getting her footing again, something wild happened. Lil Yachty hit her up on Twitter. Out of nowhere, Yachty reached out to her on Twitter, asking Gio to be in the video for one of his songs. At first, she could not make the shoot, since she had already committed to something else. But Yachty kept her in mind. He went on a run, dropping songs like Tesla, Solo Stepping Creep Boy, and Slide. When it was time to film the video for Slide, he called Gio directly. This time, she said yes. The shoot took place in Atlanta and was directed by AMD, a protege of Cole Bennett. They had already filmed scenes in London and Poland, but Gio pulled up for the Atlanta portion. During one take, she flashed her grills at the camera, just a quick moment. But that still image, it went viral. Yachty ended up using it as the official cover for the single. After that, Gio became a fixture in the Concrete Boys camp. She started referring to Yachty as her best friend in interviews. He gave her her own concrete chain, making it official. She was not a rapper, but she was part of the family. As Complex put it, Gio doesn't rap, so she isn't an artist on the crew, but it's clear by her inclusion in the family portrait that she's an important part of Concrete. When you see the Crete, you'll see her. While Gio doesn't make music, she provides the swag and energy that every rap collective needs. In the Concrete Boys crew, which, let's be honest, was mostly just a bunch of guys, Caribou stood out as the only female rapper, so it made perfect sense that she and Gio naturally gravitated towards each other. They were everywhere together. Gio showed up in several of Kara's music videos, and the two were constantly popping out in all kinds of content. Dating game shows, cooking streams, you name it. Their chemistry felt effortless. On Twitter, they were always hyping each other up. At one point, it really seemed like they were inseparable. But all of that started to shift in 2024, when Caribou went public with her issues with Yachty. Out of nowhere, Kara aired out some serious grievances online, accusing Yachty of bullying her and calling the Concrete Boys' environment toxic. Then Yachty clapped back, hard. He claimed that he had written all of Caribou's lyrics and had the proof to back it up. He posted screenshots, voice notes, demo tracks, basically trying to show the world he had built her career from the ground up. And given Yachty's history of ghostwriting for people like Drake and the City Girls, that claim was not exactly far-fetched, and caught in the middle of all this was Gio. The most she did was post a vague message on her Instagram story. She never came out and said it directly, but her continued support for Caribou on Twitter made it pretty clear where her loyalty stood. Even though she did not comment on the drama head-on, she started posting sub-tweets about not trusting people and being done wrong. Gio and Yachty also stopped following each other on Instagram. Meanwhile, Gio has kept showing love to Caribou. They still interact, still leave comments, and from the outside looking in, it looks like their bond stayed intact, even as everything else around them fell apart. Around this time, Gio was also starting to break into the streamer space. She began showing up on streams with Ty Lil and eventually Duke Dennis, two massive streaming personalities. With Ty Lil especially, things escalated quickly. They were popping up on streams together all the time, joking around, vibing on camera, and fans started running wild with the speculation. People were convinced something was going on between them. But a few months ago, things hit a weird turning point. Ty Lil went live and addressed the rumors head on, saying, "We don't talk too much." It was vague, but sharp enough to send a message. After that, Gio stopped showing up on his streams completely. Whatever friendship they had seemed to dissolve quietly. They would not appear together again until Kai Cenat's Streamathon, where they reunited on camera, but the energy was awkward. There was also speculation about Gio and Duke Dennis. They were seen together a few times, and one particular live stream when they spoke for almost an hour went viral. Fans said Gio had Duke stumbling, nervous, like he was caught off guard. Part of the reason Gio was even in these rooms to begin with was her connection to Yachty. At that point, Yachty was cool with nearly every major streamer in the AMP circle, and as someone affiliated with Concrete Boys, one of the most hyped collectives in 2024, Gio had access. Away from her affiliations, Gio also continued to find massive success on her own as a model. Gio signed with the Pause Agency, a talent and modeling firm that represents rising stars across fashion, music, and culture. With that backing, her career took off. She landed a major partnership with Ray-Ban and Meta, promoting their new smart glasses on Instagram. Then came a rollout campaign with Adidas in late 2024 for their new Crazy Infinity sneakers. And most recently, she was featured in a Coach commercial for their Manhattan sneaker, which even included a speaking role, an actual acting gig that showed she was leveling up beyond static modeling work. But beyond those major campaigns, Gio's Instagram continues to show her doing what she has always done best, turning her image into opportunity. She's constantly unboxing new product drops, promoting clothes and accessories, and posting fit pics that rack up real engagement. She has also been growing her presence on YouTube, making independent content and vlogging her experiences. She was recently seen with Suki, the Houston-based model who Yachty famously brought into the fold for Drake and 21 Savage's Her Lost album cover in 2023. And now that she is no longer closely tied to Yachty, or any streamers for that matter, this is where Playboi Carti enters the picture. Ever since Whole Lotta Red dropped back in 2020, Carti and Yachty had always been cool. There were no public issues, no real signs of beef. But as the years went on, their affiliations started to shift in very different directions. Yachty leaned in closer to Drake. Meanwhile, Carti unexpectedly started becoming more affiliated with Kendrick Lamar and featuring him 3 times on his 2025 album I Am Music. Yachty eventually unfollowed Carti on Instagram, and people have been fueling a beef between them as people continued to accuse Yachty of biting Carti's sound. Now, while Carti and Yachty were still on good terms, Gio probably met Carti through the Concrete Boys circle. And based on Gio's Twitter activity in early 2024, where she was reposting Carti and showing love months before I Am Music dropped, before they were even publicly seen together, it seems like their relationship had been building quietly for a while. Things became official when Carti posted a photo with Gio and his sister, making it clear she was now in his inner circle. From there, the sightings kept piling up. Before I Am Music even released, Carti and Gio were spotted together more and more. And on Gio's birthday, just 2 weeks before the album dropped, Carti reportedly sent her an Audemars Piguet watch valued at an estimated $60,000. That kind of gift was not subtle and naturally sparked dating rumors. But as we talked about earlier, Gio has clarified multiple times that she is gay and is not attracted to men. Still, that has never stopped the internet from running with the story, especially when Carti posted on his story celebrating his Billboard chart success of having 31 songs from I Am Music landing on the Hot 100, and captioned the post, "Your ex could never," tagging Gio. Some people thought he was calling out Gio's ex, suggesting Carti and her were now dating. Others argued it was not about a romantic relationship at all, but rather about her ex-crew, the Concrete Boys, and how Yachty had never hit numbers like Carti just did. Yachty quickly jumped on Twitter to shut down any theories, replying to fans by saying, "I never dated Gio for the record, it was always platonic," and Gio had said the same thing in a past interview. But even if there was nothing romantic, Carti and Gio's closeness has continued to grab attention. They were spotted courtside at an Atlanta Hawks game, one of Carti's first official public appearances in years, and he chose to bring Gio. Then came the Met Gala, and by this point, Carti had just had the biggest year of his entire career. A Met Gala invite was inevitable, but what no one expected was that he would show up in full chrome hearts, post about getting kicked out, and tag Gio in the caption, "Met Gala banned me, felt like we got kicked out of prom, but we good, Gio with me, I'm a happy man, fuck 'em." Once again, the internet went crazy. Not only were Carti and Gio there together, but she was dressed in a way that contrasted her usual streetwear, more feminine, more formal, clearly styled for the occasion. They even recreated that iconic Kanye and Kim photo, adding more fuel to the fire that they might actually be dating. Then Summer Walker posted a photo on her story with both Carti and Gio, and in the caption referred to Gio as Carti's wife. Most recently, Gio was featured on Carti's story modeling his new merch drop of YVL hats. They seem to have a strong friendship, and Gio's style and aesthetic fits seamlessly with Carti's circle of creatives, which includes Mitch Modes, Joy Division, Burberry Airy, and Sex is Death, to name a few, and their friendship seems to be getting stronger. It seems Gio is really good at networking and getting into the right circles, and as a model, that is a requirement for the job. She was in Yachty's camp, then she was friends with Ty Lil, then Duke Dennis, and now she is associated with Carti, who's one of the biggest rappers in the world right now. As for their relationship, that will likely continue to remain unknown. Gio is definitely one of the more interesting creatives in the rap game. Many people think she might be some groupie just around rappers. However, she went through homelessness and addiction, which led to her having the successful modeling career and influential friends she has today.